Hey guys, so I just went to the dentist to check up on some stuff because I'm getting my wisdom teeth removed tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I know. But before then, I'm obviously doing an episode on my podcast. So I'm gonna go get my bevy. Me and my star guest have decided that we're both going to record us getting our bevy before. So come with me and see what my bevy is. Yeah. Can I have a large 10-piece chicken nugget meal with a Coke?
What kind of sauce?
Sweet and sour sauce.
What can I get for you, bro?
Can I get a large Coke?
I apologize, we don't have any sodas right now.
Oh, you don't have any sodas right now?
No, we don't have soda. Just we got iced tea and orange juice and a bottle of water.
Okay, so then I'll just have a sweet tea then.
Sweet tea?
Yeah, a large sweet tea. Uh-huh. That's so unfortunate. Are you fucking kidding?
Sweet tea, I only got like a half cup out of it.
You're good, thank you. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Soulful Tips and Sips with Val. Woo-oo. We're on episode 6 already. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about music in film. This is a topic that I geek out over all the time. I was a media and communications major in college, so we talked about pop culture and like queer cinema and just like all that stuff. I took a lot of music classes as well, so they kind of intersected. And also, I am not the type of person who can, I can binge watch. The only reason why I'm stopping myself there is because I have been binge watching Shameless lately. I know I feel like I'm a million years late with that, but I'm not really the type of person who can just like binge watch a show every other week or like every month. I've just been like really bored lately, so that's what I've been doing. And also like I'm not really the type of person who like gets obsessed over films and stuff like that, but when I do, I always am like paying attention to the music in it. And I think that just like comes naturally. And also I think that like music in cinema and film is so important and it kind of like drives the narrative anyway. So even if you weren't a music enthusiast or if you weren't someone who listens to music every single day, you could probably geek out with us and talk about the music within these films that we're going to be talking about. So my special guest for today, she is somebody who is the opposite of me when it comes to binge watching. She can binge watch anything and everything. And also she knows so much. Like when she binge watches something, she becomes such a fangirl. They literally like know so many specifics about like not only the character, but that person the actor who plays the character, like they get into it, okay? My star guest is, drumroll please, woo, my sister. She is gonna come on. She's at school right now. So she didn't send me a bio, typical, but I'm just gonna tell you about her real quick. So she is a junior in college. She goes to Washington Jefferson. She's a psych major and a sociology minor. Yeah, she has an emotional support cat named Smokey. We love him. I miss him so much. I'm gonna put pictures here, so if you guys are just listening, maybe you should come on and see these pictures that I'm putting out right now. But I don't know if he's gonna be making an appearance, but hopefully. We were talking before this and we were kind of like discussing things that we usually just geek out about in general, like after watching a series together or watching a movie. Like I usually kind of am like super specific about like the music, not in like an annoying way, in a way that's like, oh my God, that song really blah, 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 blah. And she is the same way. Like, she will pay attention to specifics, and it's just so fun to like talk with her and debrief after like watching a series or watching like movies and stuff. And also she has like really, really good insights on certain things that are more her interest rather than mine. So I mentioned anime. I don't really watch anime like at all, but I did research for this podcast for her, and I watched A Silent Voice, which is an anime that you can find on Amazon Prime. I won't tell you guys kind of the synopsis of it because she wants to come on and tell you guys that, but the music basically like drives the narrative in a way that's different than just like a soundtrack. Like it's as if its own main character, and I say that literally. Let's talk about Gianna a little bit. She wants to, well, she is going to, manifesting it, move to Alaska after college. That's their goal. And they're thinking about being an EMT, which is like slay. And also they are an actor themselves. Right now they're kind of taking a break with that because they have school and stuff. They usually are in the plays and the musicals at their school. We could talk about that a little bit too, but I'm going to ask them questions about like, obviously about themselves and also about all these films that we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to split this podcast into 4 mini themes or like sections. So first we're going to be talking about Gianna and just like who they are and get to know them a little bit more, and their interests and stuff, introduce them. Then we're going to talk about music and anime. And then they're going to talk about Teen Wolf. And then we're going to talk about queer cinema, specifically Young Royals and Heartstopper. If you haven't, so these are the actual shows and movies that we're going to be talking about. Music and anime, we're going to be talking about A Silent Voice. If you haven't watched that movie, you should go watch it before like listening to our little section. But if you don't care, you can just watch it anyways or listen to it, or you can skip it to the next section because I'm going to put the timestamps down below so you guys can kind of navigate this podcast with your interests. So like what you want to listen to and stuff. Then we're going to be talking, well, they're going to talk about Teen Wolf because I have never watched Teen Wolf before. So they're going to talk about that. That's their expertise. And then we're going to be talking about queer cinema, and we're going to talk about Heartstopper, specifically the songs Why Am I Like This, Shatter, and You're So Pretty. And then we're going to be talking about Young Royals, and we're going to be talking about a scene where, I don't know what the song is called, but it's, I tried looking it up. She's going to be like, it's Revolution. But I don't know if it's actually called Let's Start a Revolution. Maybe it is. And maybe I just like couldn't find it on my Apple Music. But I will show that. And this podcast is going to be a little hard-ish to navigate just because I don't want to get copyrighted. So I may be playing stuff on my phone a lot when it comes to music. But I'll try and like play little snippets or at least tell you guys where those scenes are. So then you can maybe go reference them yourself. Oh yeah, that was a mouthful. But I am so excited to have them join this call. You guys will love them. They are fabulous in everything that they do. I'm curious to see what jewelry she's wearing today and also just like what the vibe is. So I hope that you guys enjoy this episode and make sure to grab a drink. So officially, let's welcome Gianna to Soulful Tips and Sips with Val, episode 6, where we will be navigating music in films and talking about, kind of asking the question, can music make or break a narrative? I think yes. So yeah, let's talk about it. So let me add her to the call. Bevy. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, my Bevy. McDonald's Co. Is yours a Coke?
They're out of sodas. Like, I was recording it. It was so embarrassing. It was like, I was like, can I have a large iced Coke? And then they were like, we're out of sodas. I was like, I know. I was like,
oh my god, that's so tragic.
I know. So I have to
one
slum it.
Well, is it a sweet iced tea?
Yeah, it's sweet iced tea. What, you think I was gonna get unsweetened?
Well, that's Emma's. I got unsweetened because in the video you see me ordered unsweetened tea because that's Emma's favorite.
I did the whole intro before you came, and I don't think I told you my little themes or like how I'm basically gonna time marker this whole entire podcast, because I think like that makes it more helpful for people to be like, oh, I want to listen to this part and like all that stuff. Okay, so let's get to my questions.
Okay, I'm so nervous.
No, don't be nervous. No, they're just like questions that basically relate to like, okay, so I talked about how you're kind of like a serial binge watcher, but what I didn't say.
You're a serial killer. I was like, gonna be like,
no, but what I didn't say, which I should have said, was that you hyperfixate on a bunch of things. I was like, I kept on going on and on. Oh, the earrings, y'all. I told you. Teeth? Because of my wisdom teeth removal tomorrow? Is that why?
no, I put it in because they remind me of Boy Genius because like they all have like teeth on their album. I don't know.
Well, we're not talking about Boy Genius.
I know, but I was like music.
Oh. Wait, that's like so far away. Teeth reminded you of Boy Genius. They don't even say Boy Genius on your teeth. But because, okay, never mind.
Because they have matching tattoos of teeth.
I'm a fake fan. I didn't know that.
Well, they honestly don't look like teeth. You have to look closer and figure it out. It took me and Emma a little bit to figure it out.
Oh, that's interesting. I would love to know the backstory of that. Anyways, back to the questions. So I talked about, I basically just, it was actually really funny. You're going to laugh when you see the intro. Yeah, it was just like, I was, what?
Sorry, I said Smokey's distracting.
Smokey? Well, let me see Smokey. We didn't talk about anything. I feel like this is already 20 minutes into the podcast and I haven't talked about anything. Okay. So I talked about how after you watch like a show, I said that you know everything when it comes to not only the characters, but the actor who played that character and like their life and like all that stuff. And I was like, they get pretty into it. But I kind of just want to talk about your relationship with music real quick. So my first question is, when you watch TV or like your shows or movies, do you usually take interest in like the musical scores and the music specifically? Like, is that something that you get like giddy about, like looking up the soundtrack to the playlist, or is that something that just like comes with the experience and you're like, okay, now I'm obsessed?
So I think when like when I was younger and I was getting into shows, like, the thing about Teen Wolf is it's on MTV, which is like the like music channel, and so every time they would have a song, they would put like the song, who it was and who was it by, and I never really like got into the music, but then like that kind of like made me start getting into the music. And then I think now I do like watch things, I love analyzing everything about like a scene, so like the music is such a big part of it, I think. So then like if there's like a song, I'll be like, oh my god, like what is that song, like I need to go listen to that song or listen to like the playlist and figure it out. Or also I love
like who sings it, what's their past, like what's going on with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I love listening to soundtracks too of movies or shows because it makes me feel like I'm watching it for the first time. Like that's what I feel like about the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like 2, Across the Spider-Verse 2. Like every time I listen to that soundtrack, I feel like I'm watching the movie for the first time, and it's like it's like an amazing feeling. So I think like when I was younger, it like just so happened like I started getting into it like accidentally, and then now I do like look into it, like specifically like get excited about the soundtracks and stuff.
Yeah, wait, that's so interesting, because I was thinking as you were saying that, I was like, I don't do that. Like I could never sit down and press play on like the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse like album, or even like Heartstopper, like not trying to be shady, but I don't think I could listen to like all of the songs on the playlist from the beginning to the end. I'm very like particular. I mean, I guess I already have a foundation in my head, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I love this artist, like I'm a fan of this artist, and that's what draws me to like listen to the album. But it's interesting that you're like, I'm a fan of this show, I'm a fan of this movie, and like you can like see it all happening again as you listen to it. But like to me, I don't really think about that. Like if I were to listen to it, I'd be like, this is a cool song. What is it from again? Like, you know?
Yeah, no, I think too, like, yeah, with that, like, because, like, I, like, am really into, like, film, or really into, like, movies and TV shows, like, I get so
yeah, I
into
said,
them,
like, I wasn't before this.
And
like,
I get, like, really into them. Like, I want to talk about them or think about them all the time. And so, like, when I'm in the car, like, if I'm walking to a class, like, I can't watch it, but I can listen to the soundtrack and be like, and then in this scene, this is when this happens.
Oh my God,
and,
I love it.
And then, like, I was like, and, like, I'll be like, sometimes if I'm driving by myself, I'll, like, pause and be like, so in this scene, like, I just talking to no one. So this is what this scene is. And, like, no
so
one's
here,
there.
just, you're, like, making food with Smokey. Well, honestly.
I'm having a podcast. It's this podcast.
It's this podcast, newsflash. No, but, okay, well then, that basically kind of, brings me to the next question, which was just to ask you, like, how does music play a role, like, in your everyday life? So that kind of is, like, a little bit of the answer, but how else? Because most of the songs are, like, pieces of work that you sent me and, like, our shared Google Doc were very emotional. They're very, like, I mean, a lot of songs are emotional, but, like, with music and anime, like, it really tackles, like, mental health issues and, like, stuff like that. So, like, how does music play a role in your life when it comes to that, I guess?
I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, but look at this man.
Hi there, Smokey.
Yeah, hi, Auntie Val.
He's in the podcast. Oh my God, please. Wait, I have a question for Smokey.
Okay.
Smokey, what is your most recent played song on your playlist right now?
I would have to say, if you ask me that question,
What is it? What do you think?
it's this song called Birds Tweeting. I was watching Safe Haven, and there was, like, the birds. It was like... Anyways, back to your question.
Yeah, sorry, back to the podcast.
Back to the podcast. A little break. So I think so. Okay, so as a kid, my connection with music, like, was, like, I loved, like, you know, of course, like, I loved Big Time Rush, One Direction. Like, I loved, like, music that was, like, fun.
BTR.
BTR, and, like, fun, and, like, you know, I really didn't think so much into it. I mean, sometimes I think my One Direction phase, that I did think deep about songs.
Story of my life destroyed me.
I was like, but also, like, because, like, I grew up, like, because we have such a musical family, like, music in my life was influenced by, like, you, or, like, our family, and I think it wasn't a bad thing, but I was very, like, influenced by, like, what everyone else liked. I wanted to, like, and
yeah, I feel
and I think when I started getting into, like, my own music was when I started getting into musical theater first. Like, but that's when I started, like, really enjoying musical theater.
Tell me about
And I
that,
was
though,
like-
because, well, talk about how, like, you're an artist on the side, too. Because I did mention that, too. I was like, they're an actor.
I dabble.
They dabble in the arts. They're on a
Dabble in the art.
they're on a little break right now, but...
I'm on a little break right now.
So that plays a huge role in it. Like, the arts in general, I feel like
I
music
love-
has to slither its way in. Like...
Yeah, well, because I love acting. I love film, and I love acting, and like, music is such a, like, I love, like, music being, like, storytelling in that sense of, like, musical theater. I love that, and I love, like even, like, I'm not, you know, a best singer ever, or, like, I can't, I'm not really good at, like, I like performing, but, like, I'm going to...
She can perform.
I'm gonna be self-aware and be like, I can't like perform. But like when I'm by myself, I love to play like musical theater songs that like I could relate to the character, because I could be a different person, but like could also like sing and like perform a song that like is very like captures what I'm feeling, but I'm like also it's someone else's feeling. So like I also feel like it was just this way of a little like escape to be like, okay, like it's like, but I can also relate to like this character. And then I think now my music taste, I definitely have grown into like my own type of music that I like, and now it is very much like I do like emotional songs that like I can like sit down and like think about the meaning of it, or like I'll put a story to it. I love like listening to a song and putting a story to it, even if it's like not a story that doesn't involve me at all. But I love like
literally.
That's what gets me into shows, is if I watch like an edit with a really good like transition edit, like with a really good song attached to it. I'm like, oh my god, this song is that character. I'm watching the show, or like I'm watching the show for them. So like I definitely think that like my music taste, my relationship with music is now very much more of an emotional, like personal connection. I mean, everyone could say that, but like I like songs that like will invoke an emotion, a strong emotion out of me in that instance.
Yes. Oh my god, that's like it just reminds me exactly like what I was talking about with Brianna when she came on. We talked about like psychology of music. Yeah. And like I knew you would love that too, and probably relate, because #psych major twins.
Yeah.
But
actually, honestly.
Yeah. But no, like sometimes you literally just, and I'm sure this is how it is with like shows and film too, like you just have to play like a scene, or you play a song that you know is gonna like hit home or like make you so emotional, and you just play it to like feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you just like
yeah, and I love, or like even if like I can't even relate to the song like personally, like I love it when you show me music and you tell me like the story behind it. You're like, so they wrote this about this person and this person in their life, and I'm like, oh geez, like,
it makes the art so much more meaningful when you know the whole entire story and context of the artist and like the genre of music and just like the history of music, which brings me into like music and film. Let's talk about music in anime. Is it okay to switch? Because I feel like this is a good transition. Unless you want to talk more. Yeah. So you were talking about how when I show you a song and then I tell you like, oh, well, did you know? Like, for example, so I'll show Gianna a song sometimes and I'll be like, oh, yeah. And also it means even more because the artist, like, they actually just lost their mom and this song is about their mom. And like it also deals with grief and guilt and blah, 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 like all that stuff. And obviously when you just like listen to a song cold and you don't know anything about the artist and it like resonates with you as a person, that's what makes music so powerful, is that like it can make you emotional just from personal experience and like all that stuff, but also when you talk about context, it's so important. So when transitioning into like music with anime, we're specifically talking about like just instrumental music, and like first of all, you should tell us like a synopsis of A Silent Voice, but I did want to ask you a question before even talking about the synopsis of A Silent Voice. What got you so interested in like the soundtrack for this music score? Because it is just instrumental, which I'm not shading at all. I'm just saying like you don't listen to classical music or you don't listen to stuff that doesn't really, it's just like the instruments. So like what drew you to that?
So it's funny that you asked that question, because so I like
would you listen to this soundtrack like you just referenced? Listen to other soundtracks? Yeah.
I listened to the soundtrack like before like doing homework and stuff, but the one song that I always listen to, like I do listen to like just to listen to, is like the Lit one. But I will say what actually got me like to like listen to the soundtrack outside of just the movie, because like I like was like loved it in the movie and I loved the music in the movie, but like I didn't even conceptualize that I could listen to it outside the movie because it was instrumental, until I was actually found out that my close friend of mine, not Emma, but a close friend of mine, Ren, last year, or like was talking about the movie, because I like rewatch it all the time, and I was like, oh, I rewatched this movie like recently, and
I can't believe you rewatch that movie all the time.
It's so I watched it so many times. Me and Emma are actually gonna rewatch it now because we were talking.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but like, it's really long.
I know.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Well, but I love it. Anyways, so.
But yeah, keep going.
And like, so anyways, and I was talking to my friend. It was funny because it was a movie that I didn't think that like anyone else seen. Then I was talking to Ryan, and Ryan was like, "Shut the fuck up! Like, I love that movie." And they were like, "I can play the song on the piano," and they like went and they start playing the song on the piano, and
that's
I was
so
like,
magical.
And I immediately was like, "I'm gonna start fucking crying right now!" Like it invoked this like emotion in me where I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm seeing the movie right now. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And then they were like, "Yeah, I listened to the soundtrack like when I'm doing my homework or something." And I was like, "I didn't even think about listening to the soundtrack." And then so like that's what actually got me interested into listening to the soundtrack outside of the movie. But like it was like this acknowledgement that my friend was like, which is like something that I didn't realize was such a big part of the movie until like they were like, "Yeah, I can play this song on the piano," and I was like, I'm like so emotional right now. But yeah, so
I'm embarrassed. Look how much. I slurped it down so bad.
Do you want me to switch out for my half full one?
Yes.
So it looks like we...
Yes. No, it's fine. Wait, so that's interesting because I actually didn't know that you listened to it like before doing homework or just in general. That's like really beneficial actually for your brain.
Well, I mean, I actually listen to brown noise a lot when I do homework. Sorry,
yeah, wow. How did you come across a silent voice? And like, what... yeah, like, okay, well, tell us about A Silent Voice. Like, how did you come across it, and why is it one of your favorite films? Is it because of the music and the story, or, like, both?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't know yet, spoiler alert.
Shoya? Is that how you say his name?
Shoya is the boy, and then Shoko.
He's the main protagonist, yeah.
Shoya is the main protagonist, but what you find out is that when he was in when he was elementary school, like 11-year-old, this new girl came to his school named Shoko, and she was deaf, and it was very much like a bad reaction from the teachers and from the students, but he ends up bullying her
so badly,
it gets so bad that then she ends up leaving the school, and then he gets in trouble. Like, everyone puts the blame on him, which I will say that like he did do a lot of bullying, but it was very much the entire class was bullying her. Anyways, and also the teacher was ableist. Anyways,
yeah, true, the teacher was. But also like just to say, when I was watching it, he did seem like he was the ringleader, but like they made that on purpose. But I watched this because he's hurt.
Yeah, and I read this character analysis about him that was it put it just really well about like why his redemption arc is like really well done, in the sense where like why you kind of for him from the very beginning, even though he's bad, and also it has a lot to do with his surroundings, like his teacher and like the class. Anyways, because he was just he really just was trying to be funny for his friends. Anyways, and there's things in the manga that like talk about this. He bullies this girl. She then when asked like why she was being bullied by the class, the whole class puts the blame on him, and this leads into this domino
they literally
effect.
Leave him in the dust. He's like, you guys are doing it too.
It leads to this domino effect where like everyone turns against him and no one wants to be his friend anymore, and so like all his friends that he had stop being his friend, and he kind of like falls into this this isolation from everyone where no one. So he decides in this because he realizes his guilt of it, what he did, he decides that he's gonna punish himself by not even trying to socialize anymore. So he kind of falls into this thing where he's just going through motions, and then trigger warning, then later he's in high school now, and he is he saves all this money that he wants to because he owes his mom money, and he quits his job, and he he rips out his calendar. He's like doing all these things that implies that he's going to kill himself. Like,
and they show this in the beginning scene.
In the beginning, and then they do flashback.
But that's like super important when we're gonna reference back to like the music and stuff. So, but keep on going.
So then but like one last thing he does before, you know, he's thinking about doing it, he wants to do one more thing, which is making like this amends to this girl Shoko that he bullied. And he's like, since this time that he's seen her last, he's learned sign language to communicate to her. Like meeting her, it's like they have this whole interaction, and it you know, leads to something in him. He decides like not to kill himself. He just like backs out of it because he has this like conversation with her, and then the whole rest of the movie is like their friendship kind of developing, and this him wanting to redeem himself in some way, but he's still struggling like with himself, like mentally, and also just like you know, just understanding how to be a better person, or how to
and like to let people in. He's very like, and
it's all about like and like how to forgive himself because of this whole thing. But he wants to help Shoko like feel better because he finds out that she's struggling with like, herself, like hatred and stuff, like, and he doesn't want that for her. Along this journey, he like gets a new friend at school. He helps, like, you know, it's all these like ways that you see him trying to be a better person instead of like judging this boy that like is kind of weird. He helps him out without so his bike doesn't get stolen, and then he becomes friends with him, and it's like this, you know, this friendship that like if he was a kid, 11-year-old him would not like want, you know.
Exactly. Yeah,
they like get closer, but and you meet all these other like old, like these, like there's other characters, just like, you know, the other classmates that were bullies, and some of them are back and nicer, and some of them you don't like, they're not nice. That one bitch.
Yeah, what the hell?
So what happens at the end though, however, is Shoko, deaf girl, she tries to jump off, like she tries to kill herself, but Shoya like saves her. And he makes this like makes this promise. He's like, I'm going to like be better. I'm going to live better. I'm going to look people in the eye. To represent his inability to like reach out to others or to talk to others, or his like social anxiety. Really, is there's these X's on people's faces, and when he like befriends them or when he does talk to them, and their X's fall off. He saves Shoko, and I hope I'm saying their names right. And that invokes him to fall down, actually, because she's jumping off of like her building, and he like ends up falling instead.
Yeah.
And he gets into a coma, and then finally he wakes up, and he is like going to school, and he like he's with Shoko, and he realizes that he can't keep the promise that he made, like to like look people in the eye. He's like really struggling to do this, and then Shoko promises, like, I'll help you live together. Like, we're going to work together to do this. Like, because he asked her, can you help me live? And she's like, yes.
Okay, and then we get to the ending scene where everything's good.
All the X's fall off, and he realizes, like, you have, like, him forgiving himself. Mm-hmm. Just, like, letting go of the past. I think it's very much, like, him letting go of this past, like, guilt that and, like, shame he had. And now moving forward. It's all about moving forward.
That was a good synopsis.
Comment down below if I was wrong.
No, you weren't. So when I was doing a little bit of research for just like music and anime and all that stuff, and just also kind of like you said, you read a character analysis on who? The main character? Shoya. Okay, so I was looking up stuff, and like I said before, music in anime is its own genre, and music is probably one of the most like compelling things about anime, which again, I wouldn't know because I don't watch anime, but after watching this movie, I was like, okay, yes. I don't know like if this movie is kind of in its own category because the music is kind of, I would say, is
the girl, the deaf girl.
Yeah, is the girl who is deaf. The music basically is kind of like mirroring like her and what she like feels and like what she is experiencing and stuff. But it's also, the main part of the music is following Shoyu throughout the whole entire thing. So I wanted to
Shoya.
talk about Shoya. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Shoya. Okay. So, but I did want to talk about this song called Lit. Let's talk about it in like three sections. It's lit. Let's talk about it in 3 sections. So this song is the last song that's played in the whole entire movie. And like Gianna said, it's when all the X's on their faces fall off. So literally throughout the whole entire thing, like every character has an X on their face. Like Gianna said, when he like opens up to them and they become friends, it falls off, and it's kind of like, oh, yay, good, like another one. So when I was doing research for music and anime, like I said before, it's its own genre, and specifically with this one, I was looking up the composer. So the person who wrote the composer for the soundtrack, their name is Kensuke Ushio. Probably said that wrong, but I was looking up some stuff. I found this cute little fact that said that he literally, in the beginning, for like the beginning songs, instrumentals, it's very much this kind of arrhythmic, elongated, like sustained notes on the piano. It sets the mood and like the vibe for, oh, okay, like, you know, we're getting to know these characters and something's gonna happen, and like anticipation and stuff like that. But so apparently, so for those beginning sequences, he actually disassembled like a piano and put a microphone in the piano. So when you think about a piano, you can, like a grand piano, you can you'll see that you can kind of open it up and see like the parts inside. It's not like that with like a keyboard or whatever, but he put the microphone like inside of that area of the piano. And when you listen back to those few songs, you can literally hear like such specific sounds that of like the wood keys going up and like landing. And I was thinking to myself, if those songs are supposed to like, they're played when they're introducing the deaf character, and it makes so much sense because she has hearing aids and she's hard of hearing. But when I was looking at like the YouTube video that talked about this, they were kind of talking about how like those sounds that like the piano makes, or like the sound of the pedal when you're pressing down on it, are like little things that you're just kind of like, you familiarize yourself with that and you know it already. It doesn't really like come to mind. This composer was so specific and wanted us to hear those specific, like be hyper aware of those tiny little sounds. And why do you think that is? What do you like?
That's so,
yeah.
That's so interesting to say that, because I was literally listening when I listened to the song last night. I was listening to it again, and I noticed those sounds, and I was thinking about that, but I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, it's like so cool. It like makes it even more
really cool,
intimate, and kind of like uncomfortable as well, because it's like sounds
which is like such a like essential part
yes.
of like the plot.
Yes, because it's like sounds that you're not really used to hearing like so close to a mic. You're like kind of uncomfortable like hearing these sounds.
And I think that's really interesting because like Shoko is a very important character, but it's in Shoya's point of view. So like,
yeah,
with that choice
and so is
like,
the music. So is the music though.
So is the music.
Yeah.
So him like not understanding, or like trying to understand her experience, but you know, not really understanding it fully, but you know, getting there. What did you say? Like why he did that? Did like he explain why he did that? The composer.
I don't know. They didn't. The YouTube video didn't kind of. Oh, but I did want to talk about. I also found out that the director worked so closely with the composer guy, and the director would show. I heard online that they would show like portraits or like paintings to the composer, and the composer had to then come up with a piece based off of like whatever the painting or picture was.
Cool.
So I don't know, like they weren't specific. I probably do more research. I mean, in my mind I'm like, oh, maybe it was just a picture of the comic, but what if it wasn't? What if it was like a tree or something? I don't know. And they had to like come up with like an emotion or like their interpretation of like that.
That's so, and you know what's really interesting too, because like that makes me think about how music is another theme of the movie is this way of communicating differently than like the norm, you know, like sign language. And music is often seen as like a communication, or it's also
a universal language.
The universal language. So like it is that like understanding of like that. I think it was used as to breach that gap between those characters, or between that like just like those themes of like him not knowing how to live and then learning how to through this like different form of communicating.
Yeah. Wait, but that makes me think about, okay, and I know you probably have an opinion on this. So we're going to get to the song in like a second, but this was the last thing I wanted to talk about before that. It kind of like transitions it into that. But so I looked it up. So we're operating, because when I was listening to it, I was like, why are we like in a happy, like a brighter tone right now? So we're in D major throughout the whole entire piece. And in the beginning, we're only introduced to piano, which is very important when talking about like how if you're operating off of an instrumental soundtrack, then I mean, I took a lot of like music analysis classes and stuff like that, and we would talk really like go deep into, well, what does this mean, like all that stuff with the instruments. And it's important to see when instruments are added into certain songs in certain sections, for example, the song Lit that we're going to be talking about, because instruments are going to mirror actual characters and like their motives and their emotions and stuff. So they're having conversations with each other. When you're just listening to music, like, so I love like analyzing music, and I write about it all the time. Like I write on a blog and stuff like that about it, which I've said like so many times on this podcast. But when I am analyzing like music, I do think about how the music is having a conversation, the instruments are having conversations with each other. It's so, sometimes you just subconsciously feel like that feeling, and you're like, oh, I think the drums should come in now, or I think the guitar should come in now. But when you actually like are analyzing it after the full piece of art is made, there's so many different interpretations that, or meanings that can go with it. But all in all, like, it is just like a bunch of people having conversations with each other. So back to my first point, which was that it's in D major, which is interesting because everyone's like having a hard time. Like in the beginning, we're introduced to the main character who's just about to like kill himself. And I feel like I'm not happy, but I'm hearing a bright tone. And I wanted to talk about the scene where the main character and the deaf girl, they get in a fight. And the music, if you like think back to that part, the music is like, it's like gentle, but it's not kind. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's bright. It's a brighter tone. But like, why do you think the composer like kept us there? Like, why don't you think he made it like more minor? Like he added like the trombone, or like the cello, or some like a darker tone. Like, why do you think he did that? I don't know if you have like opinions on that.
I do.
Okay.
I love this question.
Okay, good. Because
I have a lot of feelings.
Okay.
So I think one thing is, I think that the music is used as a foreshadowing aspect a lot. So keeping it lighter a little bit is that feeling of hope, of like there's going to be a turnout to something better. Like this is not the finalization of this part of the scene or this thing. And I think that also with their fight, you're talking about when they're kids, right?
Yeah.
I think too, like, they're kids. Like, it's this idea of
like a playfulness.
They're children, and they don't really understand why. Like, I think they both don't understand each other. Like, it's this idea of like they don't understand each other, so it's like they're being mean. Well, I mean, especially Shoya, but at the end of the day, they don't. It's like they just don't understand. It's like this idea. It's like this like miscommunication. But also again with that idea of like there is room to grow because they are children, and like they have time to learn from mistakes and to get better. And I think that like that's a lot that does have that feeling. You do like feel that with the music, and it also is kind of like I feel like there's always this feeling of like something else is gonna happen, like unfinishedness of like. Yeah, like why do I feel this way when like when I'm seeing this happen, like what's gonna happen next? I know, it was okay, that makes sense then. At first I mean I'm still kind of like confused, but maybe that's just because I'm not like I haven't watched it again, or I'm not like kind of haven't watched it like
big
5 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that matters. Like, definitely, like, kind of feeling out the narrative, but that 100% connects with. Now let's talk about Lit, the last song. So I want to put it into 3 sections. Wait, I wanted to play the beginning. So in the beginning, we're just given piano, right? So we're gonna watch the scene that Lit, where Lit plays. So this is the beginning section that we're gonna be talking about. Okay, so right there, we're not even like halfway done the song yet, which is good because we're just introduced with the piano. So can you tell me, because I know this is something you brought up, where have we heard this before and why is that important? Yeah.
So we've heard this before in the very beginning. Now, because you just watched it, it's the very start of the movie, right?
Yes, and isn't it the start where he is giving her where he's trying to like sign to her right before he's about to kill himself, like before we know anything about like her character? Is that where we hear it?
I think it's in the beginning.
It's played. It follows him. It's his theme song.
It's his. Oh my god! And that's another thing too. Like with I love it when characters have like a song, like have like a theme, like a musical theme. And that you see that in musicals, but you see that here. That is his like musical theme, and it's only that section. You only hear that first beginning of it. Don't hear anything else other than the beginning piano part.
So it's a reoccurring thing that comes full circle. Now let's and keep in mind what I was talking about earlier about like instruments talking with each other. So now we're gonna kind of play like the middle section of this song, and when a lot of different instruments are at it, and when the X's fall off the faces. So I wanted to talk, well, actually, let's ask you a question based off of the instruments, but I think it's kind of like, it could be an opinionated question, or maybe like you know what the answer is. Opinionated answer, or maybe there's a specific one. So what's added in here, I hear the flute and I hear the xylophone, and I hear them having conversations with one another. Okay.
That's what I thought of first.
Oh, okay. So when it's transitioning into it, it's obviously like it's like a percussion instrument that they're using. I forget what it's called. It sounds like those drums that I forget what it's called. I know all my music history people are gonna come at me. Whatever. The strings, the strings are at it in such a beautiful way, and then you hear a flute, really, really high pitch, and then you hear the xylophone. And so, who do you think is who? I think that Shoko is the flute, and I think that the other character is the xylophone, but I don't know, maybe not.
No, I never even thought of that. Like,
because
them having a conversation with each other. Like, that's so interesting. Like, I didn't even think of, like, putting a character to the instrument.
Oh, well, that's what I was...
so cool. I know, like, you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Like,
my professors would always urge us to attach not only emotions with, like, instruments, but actual characters. So I wanted to talk about how the xylophone and the flute, I think, are supposed to represent the main characters, and then the cymbals and the other string characters, it's all supposed to... So I'm sure, as you're listening to it, the shh... It brings you, even though you see all the X's fall off the faces, it gives you it makes you feel like you're kind of thrown back in time. And because we have already been introduced to the piano melody, which is his motif throughout the whole entire thing, we are now being taken through his whole entire journey with him musically. So we're being introduced to his friends, we're being introduced to his hardships, and it's like taking us through his narrative all over again, but in a beautiful way, where then at the end we're given a different sound. We're not given that piano sound to end it off. It almost sounds like there's a guitar added at the end.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, sorry, no, I do agree. I think that's a beautiful, like, interpretation of it. Like, I didn't even think, I mean, like,
because, like, when the instruments are added, it feels like a rekindlement of, like, joy. Like, you feel joyful because you're seeing the friendship that he was given through that weird character that you said, or his other friends, or, like, all the stuff that he had to go through. And that's why it's, like, slowly but surely being added, because at the beginning we don't hear the crash of the cymbals. We hear the xylophone and then, like, the flute, but then it's like, and then you hear everything else kind of combining onto each other. Yeah. And also, just to comment on, like, the electronic elements of it, the composer who actually did this whole entire soundtrack, he is well known for, like, electronic synthesized, like, music. So this was something, like, out of his comfort zone. And I looked up the only moments where, like, synthetic elements are put into place. Well, there is some in this, but I think it's just supposed to add, like, a little sprinkle to, like, his whole entire journey. But the only time that there's, like, a synthetic element is when he wants to, like, when the main character, like, doesn't want to, like, he walks through the halls of the school and doesn't want to talk to anybody, and, like,
yeah, or like when, like, the moment right before the X's fall off for, like, his friend, there's, like, that, it's like there's, like, that,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and then it falls off. Yeah,
wait, so let's listen. Like, this is, like, like, synthetic. Okay. Oh, and then I also wanted to talk about that part where it's like, Choo! The whole entire time. So lit actually means light in Japanese.
not too close.
No. So lit actually translates to light, and when you hear that sound, it literally, like, not only are we visually given, like, this light that, like, is going back and forth from in the film, but it literally feels like we're being thrown up into the sky, like, to the light. And then
I'm getting emotional thinking
like,
about the scene now.
Isn't it a guitar? I don't know. It still sounds like a piano.
No.
It sounds like the piano, but you know what it sounds like? The mic in the piano.
Yeah.
Oh, so honestly, that makes it even better, though, if you think about it, because in the beginning we're just given a regular sounded piano, but at the end it's like he's transitioning. He's a totally different person now, but he's accepting who he is, but with that sound that kind of connects us to, like, the deaf character and, like, everything that comes with her, and, like, all his imperfections. He's accepting all his imperfections. That's why it's that sound. Don't you think that?
I love this analysis.
This is so clear. We're not in the piano. Like, I can somewhat hear, like, somebody, like, playing it, like, like when you hear the clothing and stuff, but at the end it's amped. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, T. Anyways, next topic.
Can I?
Oh, sorry. You go. You end it. You wrap it up.
I want to say, because that was, like, such an amazing announcement of that scene. And, like, mine is, like, kind of like a loser version compared to that, but, like, because I want to say, like, what I oh my god! First of all, okay, because in the beginning you asked me like how I got to this, and I never answered that question because we were talking like.
Oh, we talked so much about something.
Yeah,
else.
we got into it. But like how I came across this. First of all, when I first came, like I've seen a lot more animes now, but when I first like came across this, I wasn't really. I like was watching. I watched like Hunter x Hunter, I think was the other anime I saw, and I like really like I just was like I really wasn't into anime, but I was just like I was very much trying to escape my life because I was in a bad time in high school.
Yeah.
And like I like didn't want, and I was very lonely. I felt it was like you were at college, or maybe I think this was at a time when it was like right before COVID, I think.
Yeah.
And like you were and I just felt like very like I was just like losing myself. I felt like I was very much losing myself, and when this happens, I like to like absorb stories so I can live vicariously through someone else. So I found this, and like I don't know, it was like high school, and I thought it was going to be a love story, which I'm so happy it wasn't. I love it so much that it's not.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a love story too, and I was like, if this is enemies to lovers, I'm not for it. Like, and I usually am.
I love it so much because like a lot of people want it. Like people are like, oh, like part 2, like, or do they get together, or do they become a couple? And like the I've seen like the writer being like, that's not the point. Like you didn't get the point of the thing. Like they were like, you know. So
yeah, because it's about anxiety and depression and like hiding
about,
yourself.
Like, a whole other thing, yeah. And so, anyways, I didn't know that's what this was going to be about when I got into it.
Yeah.
So
yikes. But that's the best form of music and media, don't you think, when you don't know that you're in for that? And so, you know, in the beginning, I was just like very much just like, you know, emotional. And even like, and then at the end, like the moment when the X's fell off and the music does like changes. To me, it felt like it goes like lighter. Like it's very intense. Like a weight lifted off your shoulder. Like when the X's fell off, I could feel that like feeling of something falling off. Like, and you know how like it plays and he starts crying, and it's so strange because like that movie is an emotional movie, but like I feel like first time watching it, I didn't really cry at all. Like I was like this, I felt sad, but that moment that he starts crying, and you will cry with them, but sometimes it's like I don't know, sometimes. For some reason, like usually there needs to be like a scene explained, but like it was like no words, and he does say something. He does in like the English dub. He does talk, but in the scene that I like the link I sent you, if you watch that, I'm pretty sure he doesn't say much, and he just was saying like, "Am I allowed to feel this way?" And yeah. Like, and it's like this, and the music like added on to that made me feel so like this feeling of like acceptance. Understood. Yeah, like I was like, I never watched something that like encapsulated how I felt in such a real way, and it was like an animated. Yeah, like, it was anime, and that has to do with the choice of instruments used. Because if they use the trombone, if they used other instruments that give off a heavier quality, that then makes you feel different. So like they use strings, they use the xylophone, the flute, like really brighter tones, and I think that it definitely helped with that affirming subconscious feeling. That's what I was trying to say too, like in the beginning. You can analyze the shit out of any music piece you want, but at the end of the day, what's beautiful about music is that you subconsciously understand it without even having to say a word. Like when you're looking at, like when you're listening to when you're watching a film and you're listening to the song that's connected to it, I don't even have to be really like listening to the lyrics sometimes to be like instrumentally and musically be like, oh my God, you know? Yeah, and like I remember like with the music, so I remembered exactly where I was when I was watching that scene, and like just like really? everything I felt in that moment, and I really truly believe it's because of like the music, what the music did in that scene, and it just was like such a like, and the ending too, like how it ends, like you know when you watch a movie and you get like so sometimes when you get really attached to a movie, you get really sad like when it ends. Yeah, you're like, why did it end that way?
And or like you're just like, it's over, like I can't watch that, like I won't go through it again. And that's how I was feeling a lot with watching like shows that I really liked at the time, because I was like, if this is over, I have to address my life now. Whereas I feel like with that movie, like at the end of it, I was like, okay, like there is a possibility for things to get better. Like it lifted me up in a way that was like,
it's very hopeful.
It's very hopeful, and it's very real and very like emotional, and it's just like there's so many aspects in that movie too. Like there's like so many aspects that can be talked about that movie. There's so many like small characters that can be analyzed. Like it's such a beautiful movie.
I know, we could talk about it forever. Okay.
And the music really does like really have such an importance to it. Also, it's like there's so many parts in the movie where like they're talking to each other and you don't really know what they're saying, but you know.
Exactly, and I think that does have to do with the music too.
Exactly. That's what. Yeah. Also, peep the silent voice shirt.
Yep. Thanks, Emma.
You and me first. Also, so sorry. One, like I like we talk about this a lot, but just one little thing that I don't know if you noticed this, but so whenever Shoya and Shoko say goodbye to each other, they I have a son being weird right now. They go like this, which means like see you later in sign.
Oh.
But when Shoya, after the fireworks, when Shoya goes see you later and Shoko signs goodbye.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either until like the third time, and then Emma told me, and I was like,
then you were like, interesting.
I was like, I'm gonna cry.
Let's transition. So, okay, that's all we're going to talk about. So, yeah, music and anime, mwah, I think it literally is, like, so freaking good. Watch that movie. Yeah, watch the movie. We're going to transition into Teen Wolf. Okay, we're going to not talk about this for an hour, but we're going to talk about it a good amount to give it, like, the recognition it deserves. So, what are we looking at, Gianna?
Okay. This is a show that is a childhood show to me, so that's why I love it so much. So the show is about, okay, so it focuses on these two friends in high school, Scott and Styles. In the first season, Scott gets bit by a werewolf, and he becomes a werewolf, obviously. It's just about, like, his journeys with his pack, like, with his team, like, being a werewolf and facing like supernatural like creatures and supernatural villains, and Styles is his best friend, and Styles is like human. Styles played by Dylan O'Brien, has my heart.
But what was sorry.
And so there's another character, and so like there's slowly like there's all these other characters, and then one of the other characters is Lydia Martin. So she's like in the first season, she's like this popular girl that like she's kind of like not an antagonist, but she's kind of like that like mean girl in school at first. And Styles has like this huge crush on her in the first two seasons, and she's very much just like not interested. And then you find out too that she becomes a really essential character because she also kind of redeems herself. She becomes like nicer because she's secretly like a genius, and also you find out that she's a banshee, which is a like creature, like a supernatural creature that can sense like death, and she also is very like psychic. She kind of has like psychic abilities in that sense. So that's why she's important. What I will be talking about is how the one thing about the show, because this like whole thing with Styles having this huge crush on Lydia, this invoked a lot of the audience members to start shipping
Lydia
and Styles together. They thought that they should be together, and like it was very much, they were like, oh my god, like that'd be so super cute. The writers weren't really like hinting towards him having this crush on her, and him being like him being like a good person towards her, but she was very much like not really super interested until season 3. She started showing kind of more interest, and like they started becoming friends.
Wait, what's the scene? What season is the scene that you want to talk about? And again,
3.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, there's 2 scenes, like, and I'm focusing on these 2 scenes that like are connected.
Okay, yeah,
because they have the same song. this villain, she is kidnapping people in threes and killing them because of she's doing human sacrifices to reach this like goal. Is this whole thing that's just like needs to be known. The last thing she needs to like do is kidnap 3 guardians and kill them for like for her to like reach this like ultimate power thing. And the guardians the parental guardians, like she chooses Styles' dad, Scott's mother, and then Allison, who's this other character, dad. But Allison's dad hasn't been kidnapped yet, so like there's like hope in this one episode. Like they're stressed. They're trying to find their parents, and they're trying to like prevent the bad guy from kidnapping him and kidnapping the father. But then she kidnaps the father, and Styles gets a call, and he's with Lydia at the school, and he gets the call that like he's been kidnapped. And this induces like a panic attack. And he's just like, now he thinks his father's gonna die. So he's like, she has all 3. He's like, and so then he's like, oh shit, you got a panic attack. And he like takes.
Yeah. I know what scene you're talking about.
To the locker room, and she's like trying to calm him down. She's like, like.
Wait, can I play the scene?
Yeah, I have the scene. Yeah.
So let's play this scene real quick right now, and then you can comment on exactly what you're talking about.
Come on. Just try and think about something else. Anything else.
Like what?
Happy things. Good things. Friends. Family. Not family. Oh, God. Okay, just try and slow your breathing.
I can't.
Guys, look at me. Look at me.
There's a ghost upon the moor tonight. Now it's in our house. When you walked into the room just then, it's like the sun came out.
So as you can see, she believes that she needs to kiss him to save him from a panic attack. Plus, holding your breath can stop a panic attack, which I don't know the science behind that, Lydia. But anyways, this is such a central. Okay, and the song they play, "Start of Time," and I like would memorize that, like only that scene, that part of the song where like they kiss, where it says "There's a ghost upon the moor tonight." And Lydia and Styles, people ship them, and I was one of those shippers. But at the time, I didn't start watching the show till like a little later. But anyways,
this was such an essential part. A day one.
I wasn't day one because I was a child, and so this was very much this scene, because I think that every like scene, everything that is chosen to do in a show means something. There's a meaning behind it. Like, why would they have this happen? Where like, why would she kiss him like this? So everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, oh my God, they're gonna happen. Like this, like why would she kissed him? This is amazing. And this was also in the trailer, so everyone knew this was happening. So everyone was like, oh my God, when are they gonna kiss? When are they gonna kiss? When are they gonna kiss? 3 seasons later, we're season 6 now.
They play the same song?
Styles. What?
They play the same song?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you about that in a
sorry.
Yeah. Let me get there.
Sorry.
Lydia and Styles still not together.
Ugh. Like, I would stop watching the show.
I was desperate. Season 6, episode 1. There's these bad guys called the Ghost Riders, and I just want to make a note of the word ghost. Important to know.
Oh, okay.
There's the bad guys in season 6 take people, and then they have everyone forget about them. So whoever they kidnap, and they end up taking the whole town.
Horrible.
So
wait, do they gain back their memory?
Well, here's the thing: the past Ghost Riders they take people, and then everyone in that town forgets about that person, and then they end up taking everyone in that town until they take the whole town.
Oh, okay. That's giving Vampire Diaries.
Unless they're stopped. So, and that's where the ragtag team of comes in. Anyways, but in the very first episode, Styles realizes that he's going to be kidnapped next because he saw the Ghost Riders. And, like, if you see them, that means you're next. And Lydia finds this out, too. And Lydia's, like, the last one to remember him. Like, and so she goes up to him and she's like, oh, my God, they're going to take you. And he's like, I know, they're going to take me. And she's like, we have to get out of here. We have to go. And he's like, they're in the car about to leave. And then he's like, there's no use in running. Like, they're going to catch up to me and they're going to kidnap me. So he, like, undoes his thing. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, you have to go. And he's like, Lydia, they're going to get me. Like, he's like, you just have to, like.
Is this right before he becomes, like, bad? Like.
No, that's
already happened.
No, that already happened. That happened, like, season 3B. Yeah, he got possessed. Styles is human, but he got possessed in one season. Oh, that was so good. That was a good season.
That was such a good season.
That's the best season.
He's such a good actor.
And there was a lot of Stydia moments in that season, too.
Oh, spicy.
Could talk about this forever, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, so,
sorry.
So, he's, like, he's about to be kidnapped, and he's, like, turns to Lydia, and he's like, you have to remember me. And she's like, I will. And he's like, remember, like, you know, how you, like, remember, like, how you were, like, he's, like, saying remember things. He's like, remember you're the first girl I danced with? Like, remember how I had a crush on you freshman year, junior year, like, sophomore year, junior year? You can play this scene, too, but I'm just going to talk about it. He's like, remember how you saved my life? And she's like, you saved my life, too. And then he goes, just remember. And the last thing he says before he gets yanked away into the oblivion is, remember, I love you. And he gets pulled away and taken. And everyone's there, like, and then he's not there for the most of the season because he had to go film Maze Runner. But anyways.
See?
So, then, fast forward into the season. The whole season, Lydia is like, there is someone that was kidnapped that we have to remember. Styles is real. Like, she doesn't remember him.
I remember this.
She doesn't remember him, but she knows that he's existed. And she, like, can't remember who he is, but she knows there's someone out there that has been taken. And so she's like, Styles is real. We need to find Styles. We need to save Styles. And finally, they're, like, doing this thing. All, like, Scott and Malia, which is Styles' ex-girlfriend, and Lydia are doing this, trying to remember him by doing this, like, hypnosis thing.
Yeah.
And Malia and Scott try it, and it doesn't really work, because they're trying to break a portal so, like, they can get him out of, like, where he's stuck in. Because, like, remember him, he'll come back. Still don't ask about the logistics. Anyways, so they're like, come on. Like, Malia and Scott try it. Don't work, but they're like, Lydia, like, you have to try this because, like, the one thing we remember is your connection with him was super strong. So she's like, she gets put into this hypnosis, and in the hypnosis, she's like in the school, like in her hypnosis dream, she's like in the school, looking at a TV, flipping through channels, and the channels are all her memories of Styles.
Oh my God.
And then she's flipping through all these, and none of them are, like, working. And then finally, she hears something, and she turns, and it's something in the school, and she's walking to the locker room. She gets to the locker room, and it, like, re-shows the scene where they kissed for the first time. And then the song plays again, but it's the end part of the song where it's, like, a build-up of the song where it's, like, it's like the sun came, and it's, like, and it goes up. It's
oh, my God.
Big outro, and she opens her eyes. Like, when she opens her eyes, and she goes, and then she says, when I kissed him, that's when it all changed. Like, that's when I, like, and then she shows all these memories, and then it's supposed to show, like, how, like, the minute she kissed him was when she started thinking differently about their relationship, and that's when she started falling for him, and, like, that's when it all changed. Like, and then she starts sobbing. She's like, oh my God, like, I was the last person to see him. Like, I never said it back. And then they reunite. When they reunite later, it's like, she says, like, I never said it back, and he goes, you don't have to, and then he kisses her.
Oh my God!
It's so good. But anyways, I was looking into the song Start of Time, the meaning behind the song.
Oh,
like,
good.
What the writer was talking about, and the writer was talking about. Okay, actually, sorry, I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, no, pull it up, because I was gonna say, like, I was maybe gonna push the conversation more towards, like, music and memories, and, like, how music can easily, evoke a memory.
It does. No, like, when I listen to the song, I think of it like that
in a good and bad way.
Yeah. So, Start of Time is having an idea so different and finding someone who shares the same thoughts and beliefs. And the chorus is, there's a ghost upon the moor tonight, now it's in our house. When we walked into the room just then, it's like the sun came out. And so, and then the end part is like, it's like the sun came out. It's like the sun came out. And so it's very much like Styles and Lydia have been like a team. Like although Lydia is like, she has powers. She was also kind of like she also didn't have like physical abilities where she could like fight people. So Styles and Lydia often were the two that like solved the crimes, solved the mysteries together. Like they were kind of like the like smart ones of the group, and they also were like they like understood each other to like a very much different level. And I think that just that like when they kiss, like in that moment, in the first moment, like when they kiss, it's like this moment of just like just stopping, like he's having a panic attack, and this is just stopping it. It's just stopping the panic attack and letting him and calming him down, clearing his brain. It's like the sun came out, like I was all foggy, and now the sun's out. And then going to season 6, it's like the sun came out. I'm remembering, like you are the sun in my life. I'm remembering the most important part of my life.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, was you. This is such an important, central part of my life, and you are, and like now it's coming back. And then also,
wait. So did the artist write the song for the? No.
Yeah.
Not for the show. Okay. Well, I mean, it just like it. I feel like that matters
but it's perfect.
too.
And also, like MTV, like is team of MTV, like is very like is about like MTV. The channel is about music. Like it used to be really heavily about music. So like they're very like their music choices are very like thought through. You know.
Yeah.
It's seen in other scenes, but I just want to talk about that because I just love. There's the other scene I have, but I feel like we should move on. But
Yeah. No, but I love that. I love that. That's. I think just to summarize that, I think you see that a lot. Like that connects directly with also music in that anime that we were talking about, A Silent Voice, talking about like repetition and how that really, really helps get your point across. And it also like oh shit, like I don't know, it kind of like makes you, it really puts it in your face, like underlines it. So like, you know, if we're looking back at A Silent Voice, like repetition with that specific like motif that kind of was following the character throughout the whole entire movie. And then with Teen Wolf, like obviously like they're using the whole entire song to help you remember, but it's kind of like finishing it also 3 seasons later. Like that's how, like I don't know, that's how like powerful music in film really is. Like you can wait 3 seasons and replay the song, and it just brings back all the memories in us as audience members as well. Yes! Not just the character. Like we're feeling that through her perspective, but also we're having our own emotions too about this. We're like, oh wait.
Yes, because when it played, I literally remember like, that's the song. No, but like literally, because I was there, was like, that's the song. I was like, oh, I literally was freaking out. I literally was losing my shit. I was like running around the room, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Also though, like another, just like this is just like a general thing. Like if you think about it too, like okay, the only time that you see like music not being a part of the storytelling is in like plays where there's no music at all, like, but that has the element of like the audience is right there, so you have that more like of intimacy, like where you can connect with the audience like one-on-one. Whereas like I think music, like if you're watching a movie or a show with no music or no soundtrack, you're like the story is lost. Like you're very much
missing something. Yeah,
you're missing something, and there's no like intimate level part of it.
Like,
I mean, music really makes it intimate, I think.
Just think about Barbie. When I think about Barbie, I think of What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish. And also, not only because I knew that song was going to be in the movie prior, because she was like amping it up, but it was played in a very crucial climax or like turning point of the film. And anyways, it became memorable. So, anyways, we're gonna move forward. So, okay, so for this section, we're gonna talk about queer cinema, specifically Heartstopper and Young Royals. And if you don't know those 2 series, then unsubscribe from my podcast. No, but seriously, you need to go watch it. So I want to talk about, well, first, let's just...
There's the door, bitch.
There's the door, bitch. let's just do a little quick synopsis of Heartstopper. You can do the synopsis since you're my star guest, and also you read the comics before me. So just do like a literal synopsis. Don't like get detailed. Just do like blah 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 blah. Okay.
So it's about about two gays being gay. Here we go. It's about these two high school boys who like get together. Like they like
and it's based off of a comic series.
Based off of a comic series, yeah. And
and it's just like the whole entire series just encapsulates like young queer joy, and it's a really big representation for like queerness being represented, like trans youth, bisexuality, just like all different asexuality, like literally so many different topics are tackled, and it's all takes place in high school, and it's very realistic too. Like it's not all of the characters who are playing the high school characters, they're not like 30 years old or something, like jacked.
Like in Teen Wolf when they're all
exactly. So anyways, it's so popular, and what we are going to talk about is the music, obviously. But before we get into season 2 music, let's talk about I want to talk about Why Am I Like This. So Why Am I Like This is by Orla Gartland. That's not how you say her last name. Oh well. But she is from Dublin, and I was looking up, like, you can I want you to tell them like where the song is played in the scene, like, because I'm gonna play the scene. But so the song Why Am I Like This, when she was talking about it, about writing it, she said it first was kind of like a joke, like her and her friend were just like joking around and being like why the fuck do I do these things? Like, why am I like this? And all of if you look at the lyrics, like it's just a bunch of like unfortunate things that just anybody can relate to, kind of deal. Like, last night I smoked a cigarette, my dad would have been upset. Then we got tattoos by the coast, and I just stood there like a ghost. Maybe I'm an old soul trapped in my young body. Maybe you don't really want me there at your birthday party. Like, all these things that, like, we overthink in our head.
Yeah.
And, like, all these realistic things. But then it's just, like, then she repeats, why am I like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That's the whole entire chorus. It's a very steady beat that's, like, very contemplative, obviously, because you're asking the question, why am I like this? But, I want to talk, that's just like a little backstory of that song. Obviously, I'm like geeking out because I love this song, and I love this playlist. I love this show, Heartstopper, and I love the playlist specifically because the songs and the artists, the musicians who were chosen to be be amplified and represented within this queer media is so important. Like, you could have chose Ariana Grande or just like any mainstream like person, but instead whoever chose, was it Alice, the person who wrote the comics? I don't know, whoever the director was,
Alice.
Oh yeah, they and the whoever was behind choosing the music,
Alice Coleman or something. Yeah,
they purposefully chose underrepresented queer musicians to amplify on this Netflix platform, and like I find that, yes, like, so I just get so happy about that, because I'm like, I'm like, that is why queer cinema and like queer media is so important, not only because of representation, but because you can take the entertainment industry and combine it with the music industry and amplify these voices. Orla Gartland, the person who wrote Why Am I Like This, they actually are openly queer, they're bisexual, and the song is played when Nick Nelson is having a freak attack and he's having queer panic because he's like, oh my god, I think I'm gay. And so his character is bisexual, like he's just the epitome of I'm bi actually, like that's his whole thing. And so I find it so comforting to know that like this song is, the song wasn't written, like they didn't write this song for this series. They're just a queer bisexual artist who wrote this song that has to do with queer issues and also just like everyday like queer panic, like, you know what I mean? So let's actually watch. I have this TikTok snippet that I want to play.
It's like I'm looking down from the ceiling.
as you saw in the scene, the song doesn't continue until he clicks search, and then it draws to the credits. So it like literally leaves us.
Just a little sprinkle of it.
It leaves us to contemplate. And so when I was talking about repetition, like I was listening to the song before coming on here, and I literally sobbed in my car, and I was like, why am I crying? But it's like seriously, like, so Gianna, talk about like the scene. I mean, I know they just watched it, but like talk about the scene and the anticipation of like the song, because you're the one who like kind of showed me the song afterwards. You were like, and listen to the song that's playing type of deal.
Well, yeah, so like it's like the episode where throughout the whole episode it's kind of it's more of a focus on like you just see more of Nick's point of view of like how he's viewing his friendship
this
as
is
of right now
season
with,
1
with
yeah
Charlie. Yeah, and he's very much just like, there's like a part where he tries to reach out first, tries to hold his hand, wants to hold his hand, but he backs out. So he's very much like, he's like confused and he's stressed and he's in his room, and then he does. And this is an experience that a lot of queer individuals can relate to when they like have a struggle, especially people who are bisexual who never like have had that motion of like who until they like someone that they like might be interested in, because
exactly.
So, thanks.
I wanted to talk about like this universal feeling of queer panic, like when I was even listening to this song, like just seeing him type like, am I gay? Ugh, gosh, it's like
I mean, yeah,
it's like because like we all can relate, okay? Like
it's
seriously.
like,
and then he clicks like he clicks enter, and it then goes to the credits, and it's like, why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why am I? And like I think that's like, it's such a contemplative good question. Not good question. It's such a repetitive question that we as queer people ask ourselves in situations that, like any situation all the time. We're like, why am I like this? It is so layered. It could go from like, why did I just interact with that girl that way? Like, I'm so embarrassing. Like, why am I like this? Or it could just go from like, why am I like this? I feel so, I feel like I can't come out, or I feel like so isolated, or like, it's that like queer feeling like, well, why am I like this? Like, I didn't choose to be this way.
And then it's also that when like the idea of putting the blame on yourself when you are because you are different than like society's standards of like what your sexuality should be. So it's like, yeah,
yes,
like,
it's even layered in that way too, because
I'm putting the blame on myself because I've been taught to put the blame on me because it's my fault that I am different.
Yeah. Wait, and can we talk about like Nick Nelson's character in general though? Because like he's very straight passing, whatever that even means, but in queer terms, like like you're supposed to question everything. But in like just the queer community, like straight passing, like throughout the whole entire thing, like they even are like Nick Nelson, like he's gay. Like I mean, not he's gay, he's straight. Like he's like literally the straightest person I know. Like, so it's like that too. It's like the expectations within the queer community as well that like weigh down on you. His
experience is such an essential part of like the bi experience in general, of like this feeling of like, am I gay enough? Yeah, like I'm not gay enough to even claim myself as this, because you know from the start that like obviously like Nick is not homophobic. Like he might have like internalized homophobia with himself, but like he doesn't have this but like it's this idea, this like scariness of just something being different in some way, and then having to deal with everyone else. It's like there's like this struggle of, especially, and that's why like in season 2 when it's like everyone was making fun of him being like, I'm bi, and it was like, why does he keep saying that? But like that is the bi experience of having to constantly remind people like, no, but I'm bisexual.
Yeah, like
that's who I am. Stop putting me in this like one thing when I am like, like even though like it is a label, but
like when I'm talking about like, if you're talking about the bisexual experience, like, oh my God, are we placed like over there? Like, and it's true. But I think that Nick Nelson is such a good character to, like, represent that, especially because he's, like, the rugby player. And then, like, even him searching those simple words, am I gay? And, like that's a lot for him. Like, to search that.
And that, yes, that's a big movement. And then it's so important, too, in the next episode where they continue that scene.
They continue it! They don't put us anywhere else.
But they changed the song to My Own Person, and the lyrics of that is like, I feel like I don't feel like my own person. I feel like some other version of me, because he's looking up all these things. He's like, he takes the gay test. It says he's 60% homosexual. He has, like, he's on these websites that are like signs you might like. So it's like he's consuming all this media of people telling him what his identity is, like, and it's like that is such, like, the queer experience in general of, like, who, like, I'm telling you who you are, and it's like I don't even feel like I'm my own person anymore. Like, I don't even know who I am anymore. And like and in that moment he doesn't like discover he's bisexual till later, because it takes him, like, you know, just doing what he wants to do, you know, dating Charlie and, like, doing, and, like, exploring himself rather than exploring what others are telling him to be.
Exactly.
And then he finally is like, and even at first he's like, I think I might be bisexual, but, you know, he's still unsure, because it's this really, like, you know, having to put a label is such a, like, pressuring thing.
Exactly. No, I so get that. And then if we're transitioning into the second season, the playlist is so insane. Like, the first season, oh my God, like, I don't, this podcast is already so long, but, like, the second season, there's so many songs that are so important. Oh my God, they're so good.
Sorry, but before we get into season 2, though, there is one song in season 1 that is written for them. Called
Which
the
one?
Colors of You song.
Let's talk about that before we go into season 2.
That song was written for them by, her name's, like, Queen.
Wait, but this song literally makes me experience so much queer joy. Like, as I'm listening to it, I'm, like, giddy, like, kicking my feet.
Yeah, Baby Queen. Shout out to Baby Queen, because she literally, like, wrote a lot. A lot of her songs are on the first playlist. And she for season 1, and she wrote Colors of You for Nick and Charlie, and or actually, I don't know what their pronouns are. So they shout out to Baby Queen. They wrote Colors of You for Nick and Charlie.
I'm looking at the lyrics. That's why I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through TikTok or something.
A lot of their songs are on the season 1 album, and they also, like, are big. They're, like, close friends of the cast, and also they were in season 2 at the end of season. And then another one of their songs is in season 2.
Oh my God, I love it. And then in season 2, Shatter was played in the beginning, and it's just such a good song. But let's talk about You're So Pretty. I don't think we have time to talk about Shatter, but it's fine. So You're So Pretty is by the Weija Project. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And it's played at the end. And so, okay, Gianna is someone who has read ahead in the comics. But I wanted to say, even if you haven't, just like with the silent voice and all the other things we've been talking about, even if you haven't read ahead or you know what's going to happen, it foreshadows. And you feel this uncertainty in the music. You're So Pretty is literally, like, the prettiest song. And it's like,
so pretty.
And it's so affirming to, like, for, like, queer love, but then it also has the bridge, which is very, like, ooh, sounds like something bad's gonna happen.
So, but just like a little Easter egg.
Exactly, little Easter egg.
Little Easter egg. That's also that one of the Weija Project is a sibling, like, band, and the brother plays Tao. Will, yeah,
can barely even see
Will,
it. But
his name's Will Yao, I think.
Okay, lyrics. You're so pretty when you smile, it kills me. Can't stop thinking about the way you kissed me under the stars. And you're so lovely when you cry, it hurts me. You're the only person left, so hold me. Don't leave me. I'm so scared that the moments we shared won't happen again. I don't want this to end, 'cause you're so pretty. So, if you're listening, we're gonna listen to the song. Listen.
So pretty
Okay, so even just listening to those 30 seconds, we're given a beautiful, we're given a beautiful piano. And then we're given beautiful, airy vocals that are very emotional and vulnerable. And I think, like, when attaching that to the lyrics and to, like, the characters in general, so this is right after prom night. And instead of, like, having sex where, like, you think they're gonna have sex on the prom night, instead, Charlie talks about his eating disorder and about harming himself. Nick is the one who kind of, like, wants to open up and, like, have him talk about this in a safe space and stuff. I know, I'm just gonna rewatch it, like, right after this. But
just wanna watch it.
And, like, it's just such a beautiful moment in their relationship, because this is, like, the first time that they're actually talking about it, like, for real.
Yes, because the whole, like, season, you, like, see this hinting towards, like, something is up with Charlie and his eating.
And it looks like he's going through a relapse, kind of, like.
Yeah, and Nick is trying to, like, is noticing it too, and there's just, like, but there's, like, still that lack of, like, communication until this one scene. He like, very much is so, like, it's such a vulnerable part of the relationship where, like, he was opened up about something, and like, Nick is so, like, happy, relieved that he opened up to him because he's been trying to get him to open up. Mm-hmm. But, like, he leaves, and Nick is left with that fear of, like, what if this is the only time?
But what if this was, like, bad, like, that we, like, I don't know, because it wasn't, like, I felt good about the conversation, but I did feel like, I don't know, because
it's like a foreshadowy.
Yeah, no, like, it definitely was a foreshadowing to, like, shit's about to hit the fan.
Because he says, like, if this ever happened, like, if you ever feel this way, please, like, talk to me. And it's like, okay.
And he was like, yeah, sure, got it. Yeah. Like, he was like, yes, I will talk to you about it, but it still seemed like he needed to go through some stuff. Like, he is going through stuff. And the thing with Charlie, though, is that he has this compulsive want for everything to be okay. Like, need for everything to be okay. And he does he
needs it to remain perfect.
Worry about himself, yeah.
Yeah, because he also doesn't feel like he deserves, like, where he is.
Yeah.
Like, and so he's afraid to mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, also, like, Nick is so, like, doesn't, like, fully understand, not that he can't fully understand what Charlie is going through or what Charlie has been through. Like, he can't fully understand it, but he wants to so bad, but he knows that, like, because he hasn't fully understood, like, hasn't gone through what Charlie has been through, and, like, knows how Charlie is feeling, like, he can't be there all the time to protect Charlie from these, like, bad moments that you have, these relapses that you have. So, like, that part of the song of, like, I'm so scared the moments we shared won't happen again. So, like, he's like, start thinking about, like, how, like, serious this actually is, but then it switches to, like, but you're so pretty, and then it shows
but you're
Charlie.
So pretty,
and it shows Charlie, because Charlie, like, it's this moment of, like, when you like, open up to someone about, like, your mental health struggle, it's, like, a really hard thing.
It's really weird.
Like, it's really weird, and you're always scared of how they're going to react. And, like, that could have been, like, the best reaction that Charlie could ever have had. Like, probably one of the best reactions he's ever had, saying someone. So I feel like he leaves, like, being on this high. Someone I care about cares about me. Like, and they just proved it to me.
And then he types, I love you.
And then we don't know what he does.
I thought he deletes it.
He does delete it. Yeah, he does delete it. Yeah. Or actually, I don't know if he deletes it. I think they don't even. I'm not sure. I feel like he just types it and then they just end it.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think, like, even if you didn't read the comics, I didn't read the comics, so I felt like unsettled.
Well, you read the first one, didn't you?
Yeah, but I didn't read the one past this one.
Oh, true. You're talking about the future. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so, like, I felt that foreshadowing. I was like, what's happening right now? I didn't know if he was gonna, like, go home and, like, do something drastic. Like, I didn't know how far they were gonna go in the episode.
Yeah, like, how, like, yeah, and also, like, someone who has read the comics, I was really, like, nervous. I was like, how are they gonna end? Like, I didn't know, because that's like, because also of course the show is a little bit different than the comics, because like I don't think, if I could be wrong because I haven't read the comics in a while, but that whole prom scene I don't think is like, it's fully, I don't think that is in that scene that they shared. I don't think that's in the comics. He does share it. I think that there is a scene like that, but it's like, I don't know, it's way more, it was portrayed a bit way more emotional and way more like in the show. I'm pretty sure, because I could be wrong though, because I haven't read the comics in a little bit, but it is so good. And then, but I was worried. I was like, I don't know, like how, like, because the show, I think the show does change a lot about the comics, but I think it not super a lot. I think it's very accurate to the comics, but I think the changes they make are very like needed for it to be like an adaptation. I do think it's a beautiful like thing, but yeah, like the music very much. I remember like literally. Do you remember like when it played the song? We literally were like, "Oh my god, I love this song." We have to listen to it.
I'm literally crying. Yeah.
We were like, we have to listen to this like after this. Like we literally were immediately like, "This song's amazing."
Yeah.
The start piano part is like, this song's amazing.
Yeah, and that also like picking music that represents what the film is trying to amplify, the voices that the film is trying to amplify, aka queer voices and experiences, is important because it carries through other social media platforms. So You're So Pretty and Why Am I Like This are both trends on TikTok, and I won't go into like complete detail, but just to talk about like Why Am I Like This, because You're So Pretty is just like a trend because everyone fucking loves the song, but Why Am I Like This is like, there's like a trend of a bunch of queer experiences, specifically like I wanted to talk about this. It's like these experiences, like realizing I like girls, realizing I might be a lesbian, and then like somebody like crying, like they're crying now, like and it's like realizing I have to come out to everyone I meet because they assume I'm straight, and it's like the song like Why Am I Like This, and this is like realizing I like girls, realizing I only want to date girls, realizing I have to tell men when they flirt, and getting told I'm going through a phase. Like there's just like a bunch of queer experiences, or like queer experiences that people have to go through, especially coming out later in their lives. Like
I was like, you never stop coming out. Like it's like, you spend your life coming out.
And then like also there's trans experiences too. Like there's this one person who said realizing I'm trans, realizing I'm gay, realizing I'm a trans boy and not just a boy. Like, and it's the whole song like Why Am I Like This? Like I think that it just like it builds a really, really good platform to raise awareness and like amplify these voices and these issues, like even for people in the queer community, because like seeing that, I'm like, oh shit, like I didn't even think about it that way. And it kind of like even changes like my rhetoric and my mindset, and it's because this song was given a platform and given a reason for people to like do this trend. Like there's literally 6,674 posts underneath this sound. Yeah,
it's like another form of communicating virtually, a universal communication,
and making a social impact through music.
Yeah, the show is very happy, but it's like these sad moments are very like needed, or like realistic in a sense of like, it's like this happy, like it's finally this like queer show that people like can be happy, but at the end also it has these experiences that like a lot of people can relate to, especially with focusing Charlie and having an eating disorder, because I learned this in psychology, like the correlation between eating disorders and the queer community is very, very very connected, because a lot of queer individuals end up developing an eating disorder because it's an idea of control, and like how there's no control over. And also, like, if this is I learned this in psychology, but it could be like, you know, there could be new data or new like things.
Yeah.
Eating disorders have a lot to do with control. If you don't have control over your like
social status or your fucking life, yeah,
your sexual orientation. So like when you feel like you can't, and then when you feel like that's a bad thing, you like find some other way to control something in your life, and that leads to that you developing those eating disorders. So it's very important and an essential part of the plot to have Charlie suffering with these like, you know, struggles.
Let's quickly just wrap up and talk about Young Royals, because I do want to talk about it.
Which is like the older brother of Heartstopper.
Yeah, seriously.
Older brother of Heartstopper.
Yeah, so Young Royals is what is it, a Sweden-based show?
It's like the evil stepbrother of Heartstopper.
So you can watch it on Netflix. Please watch it. It's so good.
So fucking good. It eats up every time. And there are only 3 seasons, which is honestly homophobic.
Yeah, it is. Sorry. We're gonna talk about the football field scene. So I just wanted to ask you, why did you want to talk about this scene? But I have notes, so it's not like I don't think it's important. I do have notes about it, but it's based off of like the lyrics and stuff.
But good. I'm glad you did, because I came unprepared.
Oh, okay. We'll play a little snippets of it right now, so you guys can know what we're referencing.
Alltså, jag har hittat den här. För att allting är fake. Allting är fake. Allt i världen är fake. Det är liksom... Alltså... Du vet, gräset på fotbollsplan är inte ens gräs. Ville. Vad har du gjort? Vad har du gjort? Tack för att du kom. Vill du verkligen? Fan, Ville, du är så fin. Jag är arg på mig. Ställ dig.
Okay, so in this scene, how do you say his name? William?
Willem, I think. Willem. And then it's Seymour.
Sorry.
I know why you're laughing. Willem, like Will and then hem.
Wilhelm. Whatever.
All over again.
The guy who is like obviously unwell in this scene.
The prince.
So the prince is, I forget if he's like super drunk or if he took pills or whatever.
He's high.
Oh, he's high as fuck. Okay.
High.
So he's high and he's like on this football field and he calls Simon. And he is like blah blah blah. He's like telling him all this stuff and he's like, nothing's real. Like, what does he say? Like, nothing's real.
He says all the people, he's talking about the football like people. Like and the grass is fake, so he says all the people are fake. Like, he's saying everything is fake. And then he says all the people are fake, but I like you.
But he knows one thing, that he likes them. So he's literally going fake. What?
Sorry, I was just finished.
I was like, wait, does he not say that? No. Okay, so they're going through a thing together. Obviously, they're in love, but it's not that easy because he's the prince, and the prince can't be gay. I put right when you actually hear the lyrics, "Let's start a revolution," they're sharing like such an intense hug, and he's like, "You're so beautiful." Like he tells Simon that. And then the lyrics are, "The city's on fire, won't you burn it up?" And then I was thinking to myself, okay, like it's just kind of foreshadowing like their relationship. Like they literally do start a whole thing because spoiler alert, season 2, he comes out to everyone. He says, hey.
I thought you were talking about August.
No. But like, he's like, we're together, we're a thing, I'm gay. And like, it's like, the city's on fire, the lyrics, the city's on fire, won't you burn it up? And that can go so many ways. Like, life is already so fucked up. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why am I trying to be what everybody else wants me to be? Like, why can't I just be happy? Like, everything is already up in flames. His brother died. The prince's brother already died. Like, shit's fucked. And all he knows is that he loves Simon. I'm really getting in this so hard. I'm like, he knows. Because you're so
No,
but it's so dramatic and so true.
Wait, like, also, like, the song definitely is played as what, like, an internal monologue for Willem and not for Simon.
So true.
Because definitely, like you definitely see more like Simon's like love, like, and like, or like his feelings, because I feel like in season 1, I don't know, like, and you definitely see more of like what they're both individually feeling about each other, like in season 2, because they have that, like, they end up being separated. Mm-hmm. But like, look at the song from season 1, and like seeing how Willem acts in season 2, like when he's like literally like he's putting his mother through the ringer. He's like, I'm gonna call the press. He's like,
Yeah.
he sees like that Simon's like gone to is like going on like a date with some other guy. He's like, he's on a date, mom. Like, I'm gonna freaking like call the press right now. And also in that moment, like it's this climax of the show in season 1 of like because all this stuff in the beginning of the show, he is like Willem wants to like, you know, spend time, date Simon, and he doesn't really fucking care about like him being a prince because he's like, my brother, you know, my brother's and I'm just the backup.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm like, so it doesn't fucking like I don't fucking care. Like I mean, like, it doesn't matter. But like he's like, I want to have fun and be in high school, and I don't like this school, so I'm going to do what I want to do. Then he gets hit with this. Not only did his brother die, so he lost his like very big role model in his life, and also like his brother's dead. He's now looked at as like the next, you know, next in line, so he has to be like very much in this new role, so he has that pressure on him. And then so he's like, he kind of just doesn't even like he's so blinded by his grief that he kind of like is really cold to like Simon at one point. And then he gets high and everything, and in this moment
Exactly.
of, like,
That's why Simon's kind of pissed off at him, because he's like, you were a bitch to me.
Fuck you, bitch. Yeah, like
yeah.
But also Simon at the end of the time. Also, he's like, he's pissed at him, but he's also like very like understanding. I feel like he's way more like he gives Willem a lot of more grace than like, you know, at some points he deserves. Love him for that.
Yeah.
And that's why in that moment, like he has this moment of clarity where he's like, everything is fake. Like nothing matters except what I feel right now, and what I feel right now is I want to be with you. And then it's like, let's start a revolution.
Yeah, like it's such an interesting song to like put for it, I think.
Yeah,
and I think
also that part. Sorry.
No, go.
I would say that part blew up on TikTok too. Like that section blew up on
So
TikTok.
there you go. Good songs resonate with good audiences, aka
like it blew
queer
up,
audiences.
Blew up.
Exactly. I think that's it. Wow. What a long episode. But if you stuck around for this long, then hi. Love you. Thanks for doing that.
Comment down below your favorite ice cream topping. You're a true fan.
What?
Comment down below your McDonald's order.
Oh, that's better. Comment down below your McDonald's order.
Go to.
And if you want Gianna back on for another episode, and we'll talk about something different. Obviously this is like music based, but like there's a lot of things we could talk about music wise, other than just like films. So, I usually end with like asking my guests, like, what advice would you give my audiences? But, I feel like I don't know, do you have advice?
I do have advice actually. Like, it's like really you didn't think I had advice for the audience members.
Well, what advice?
My advice.
Yo, what advice would you give my audience members who are looking for new TV shows and movies to watch that have a good soundtrack? That's a good question.
Well, first, I would say go back to go back to your favorite movies and film and TV shows and take a closer look at the soundtrack and what you like about it. And also, you know, use your resources such as like TikTok. There's always things that you can find. If it's popular, there's a reason it's popular. And then also, I always think the another interesting way is you just starting from like your favorite actors and looking at what other things that they are in, and that usually leads you down a rabbit hole of things, or just or you could also do the other route of finding your favorite artist and seeing our songs and seeing like if they've been in soundtracks before.
Yeah, true. That's true. So yeah, take that advice. Boom, bam, boom.
And also, next time you're watching shows, and next time you're watching anything, really think about why they put that song there.
Yeah, like really contemplate that. Like just
really contemplate it.
Sit in your seat, put on your headphones.
Yeah, analyze it. You know, be like,
Be like, this is why. Interesting.
And also, if you want a recommendation, I say go watch Spider-Man Into the Spider.
Yeah. So, well, we didn't get to talk about it, but go and watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Those soundtracks are golden. They're so good. We eat that shit up. So we were going to talk about that, but it would be like a 5-hour
Go watch
podcast.
all the seasons of Teen Wolf and then DM me. Instagram down below.
Yeah, I'll put all of Gianna's socials down below. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 6. Tune in for the next episode of Soulful Tips and Sips with Val. Episode 7, I have a special guest in mind. So, tune back in. I'm not telling you. So, yeah, let's cheers. Let's cheers to that.
I can't wait.
Let's cheers to music in film, and also understanding that music can make or break a narrative, and that goes with any piece of art that you are making. So make sure to keep that in mind. So cheers to good conversation. Cheers. We just didn't cheers together. Let's cheers again. Cheers.
Wait, do it again. 3, 2, 1. Do it. Ready?
3, 2, 1.